2020. What a year, right? Right? I'm saying that with a smile on my face for some reason, because honestly, it's been pretty terrible. Yeah, what a year, man. What a year. So recently, this year contained Mary Trump writing a book in which she alleges that Donald, her uncle, paid someone to take the SAT for him so that he could get into college. And you know what? I don't know. It sounds reasonable, because most people think that, you know, they could buy anything. They think that they're privileged and entitled. So, I mean, it makes sense to me. But it got me thinking, like, what if that happened today? You know, Donald decides that he wants to further his education, so he wants to go back to college, but he's got to pay somebody to take the SAT for him. Like, I think we all know who he would ask. I mean, it's really obvious. It's really, really obvious. They go by the name of not a Trump supporter. Wild, huh? Or, you know, he could just run down the street and ask people how they felt about the coronavirus. It's a hoax! No, not you. It's New World Order! No, not you. It's the government trying to see how many of our rights they can take away. What's wrong with you people? No. Well, actually, Donald, it's a really serious virus that you allowed to get into the country and spread uncontrollably, even though you knew it was a big deal, because you had this rhetoric that was contrary to reality and actually made people believe that it was not that big of a deal and no worse than the flu. It's all your fault, Donald. So, question. You want to take a test? Yeah. I can't wait for like 5 years from now for me to be like reminiscing with my friends and just be, oh yeah, man, 2020, wow. You know, it wouldn't have been 2020 without, you know, police officers killing 2 unarmed black men within weeks of each other. Whew. You know, All Lives Matter became the new rebel flag because people seemingly figured out that the old rebel flag actually did kind of have negative racial connotations, so they had to replace it with something else that was racist, but just to a subtle degree. All Lives Matter! It was born. That's how it happened. Can't convince me otherwise. Yeah. And like, you had Fox News, who was showing video footage of burning buildings and calling them protests. And then, like, the actual protest, the peaceful protest about Black Lives Mattering, were made up of a lot of white people, and the All Lives Matter crowd hated that. They hated that. They said, well, they're brainwashed by a liberal agenda that just makes them think they have to feel guilty for being white. I honestly think this. Like, I really, really believe this. That they thought the white people were going to join the black people to start a race war against the remaining white people. You could see it in their eyes, you know? Like, their whitey senses were tingling. And then NASCAR banned the Confederate flag, and that was the most upsetting thing to me. I was so upset. I was so upset. So upset. NASCAR, the sport in which a mullet is the official hairstyle of. NASCAR, the sport where rednecks gather shamelessly to raise hell and praise Dell like they just found out Jesus drives a Chevy. The sport in which fans rationalize and make it okay to drink Miller Lite on the Sabbath because God's probably a Rusty Wallace fan. That sport is more progressive than 80% of my friends and family. That is a tough pill to swallow. That is a tough pill to swallow, man. But I'm proud of NASCAR because they did ban the Confederate flag, man. That was something. They did it much to the chagrin of the people who love their Southern heritage, but also have a fondness to a piece of cloth that represents the losing side of a war that was fought to keep it legal to own people. Yeah, NASCAR, that's huge. NASCAR banning the Confederate flag is huge, man. That would be like Hot Topic banning kids who think they can summon Satan. Like, that's really bad for business. You know what I mean? And then, of course, like, you can't talk about 2020 without also talking about the election. And knowing what we know about Donald Trump, you would think that whoever the opposition threw up against him would be a shoo-in for the presidency. But it's Joe Biden. It's Joe Biden, man. It's Joe. And, like, if you want Trump out of office, you've got to be screaming mad right now. Like, you could have picked anybody. Pick Gilbert Gottfried. Pick the fat, bald guy from Pawn Stars. Pick David Hasselhoff. Anybody can beat Trump. Not Joe Biden. And he's creepy. Joe Biden is creepy. You see these pictures of him, like, smelling the hair of preteen little girls? Ugh. And then he gets on TV and talks about kids playing with his leg hair in a public pool. Like, that's creepy. He's creepy. I don't care. He's creepy. And Trump supporters want you to know that he's creepy, which is just fabulous, isn't it? It's fat. Man, that'd be like Taco Bell calling crystals gross, you know? Trump supporters really want to act like their guy didn't go on TV and say, well, to be honest with you, if Ivanka wasn't my daughter, I would be dating her. He said that. And if you're playing things a president should not say bingo, that guy who had that on the square, boy, he's happy. He's so happy. He had to wait like 45 presidents and almost 250 years, but finally he can put that tab on, if she weren't my daughter, I would be dating her. I feel really, really bad, though, for the guy playing that game of presidential things the president shouldn't say bingo, who had marry me and let me help you raise our Negro children. Because, you know, after the Civil War, that guy just kind of lost interest in the game. 2020. Wow.